An Age of Faith, Note-Taking Study Guide, page 199, this is section 2. The question we're going to answer is, how did the church influence society and culture in the Middle Ages? So we've already learned about kind of the basic tenets of the Roman Catholic Church during the Middle Ages, and so we're going to take that in the late period of the Middle Ages, how did it impact people? So the religious devotion. First, expressions of European Christians' devotions to God during the Middle Ages were two little things: new religious orders and the construction of beautiful churches. So one of the new orders was the Mendicant Order. This is an order whose members lived in donations and worked in the community. They weren't monasteries, so it wasn't separated. These were people in the community working in the community. So there was a movement away from monastery separation from society to mendicant orders, which were in the society. An example of this is St. Francis. He felt to live as Jesus had lived, and he was a friend of all living things, and you have a picture of rendition of him. A cathedral is a major church headed by a bishop who oversees a region's churches, and you have some Gothic churches. Gothic cathedrals first appeared in France, and this is kind of the style in the late kind of medieval era. They featured many things: high rises over towns, stone carvings of saints, statues and paintings of angels and saints, stained glass windows. If you look at page 450 in your textbook, you'll see that there's a bunch of different aspects of the Gothic cathedrals: gargoyles, flying buttresses, stained glass windows. You can see that the main part is shaped like a cross, in the shape of a cross, and the spire soars 295 feet above the city, so you can kind of see what a Gothic church looks like. So go ahead and read over that. In the Middle Ages, most art was dedicated to glorifying God. So if you did artwork, it was to the glory of God. You had to do that. It wasn't just for beauty's sake itself. It was to have a purpose. And art helped non-readers learn about the religion. A lot of the stained glass windows told stories. They're in the Bible. So these Middle Ages, most people were illiterate. They couldn't read and they couldn't write. And so how are we going to learn about what God says if you can't read the Bible? So they learned about it through pictures and things like that. During this time, all these cathedrals being built, it actually spurred a growth of learning during this time. So universities began as cathedral schools for training priests, and classes were held in rented rooms or churches, and this eventually became universities. Students studied works of ancient Greece. They studied in Latin, and one of the major philosophers of the Middle Ages was St. Thomas Aquinas. He studied the works of Aristotle. He believed that there's natural law, and that this meant that all laws in nature are basic to both the natural world and to human affairs. So there's laws of physics, let's say, he would have called it that, but there's also laws of politics, human affairs. And Aquinas had a famous proof for the existence of God. It was based on reason and natural law. We'll talk about that in class later.